Welcome to ACWS's Outcome Tracker training videos. In this video, we're going to discuss a little bit about queries and reports. Creating queries and reports is probably the bread and butter of Outcome Tracker. Queries and reports allow you to display the information that you have put into Outcome Tracker. Queries pull the information and reports display them in a particular way. You can think of creating a report as a two-step process. One, creating a query that will feed the information into the report, and two, creating the report that will display it in a relevant way. Before you begin creating a query or a report, I would ask you to consider the purpose of the report or query. It's always best to start with a clear understanding of what you hope to achieve, as this could affect the way that you design the report or query, and it will affect the fields, certainly, which you pull into the query, which will eventually feed into the report. Another thing to consider before you begin is, do you even need a report? Sometimes the information you need can be found in a query, and you don't have to take that extra step of creating a report. For instance, let's say I want to know how many people answered a particular question in a particular way. I just need that number of how many people. I don't really care about anything else. That would be a good instance that I could use a query. For instance, I've created a query here. I want to know how many people listed cats as one of their favorite animals. At least one of their favorite animals. So I created this query, and there's only one result, but there may have been 100 results. There may have been 2,500 results. I just need to know the number. So for instance, if this had 2,500 results, this would say here, it would say rows 1 to probably 100 of 2,500. That is a good instance in which a query can do the job, and you don't have to take that extra step of creating a report. However, if you want the information in the query to be displayed in a particular way, or if you want to know, for instance, the percentage of people who said cat was their favorite animal as opposed to gorilla or people, then you would want a report for that, because reports will allow you to do that. If a report is needed, you should put some thought into how you want it to look. This can determine the type of fields that you can pull into the query that will eventually feed into the report. So these are just some things to keep in mind when you go to create your query or report. One is sort of the architecture of a report, that you need a query to pull the information, and then you create the report to display that information that you pulled. And two, you always kind of want to start, if you can, if it is possible, which I understand it not always is. Two, you always kind of want to start with a clear understanding of what you want your end to look like, of exactly what you're meaning to achieve when you create a query or report. Three, consider that a query might be all that you need. You don't actually need a report, and you don't have to take that extra step to create a report. And four, finally, I just want to say that creating queries and reports in Outcome Tracker is a pretty forgiving process. If you decide later that there's a field that you want on the report that you didn't put into the query, you can add it quite easily. And if you decide that you actually want the report to filter on a different thing, to show different results, you can change those quite easily. You can always add columns or fields to the query or report. So even though it's best to start with a clear understanding of where you want to end, it is also quite easy to change directions once you begin. So certainly if you can start with that understanding, that's better. But if you don't have that, don't feel too intimidated. All right. In the next series of videos, I will actually walk you through how to create queries and reports. So make sure that you watch those, and thank you for using ACWS's Outcome Tracker training videos.